all of their mathematical brilliance to prove that this was a lie and wasn't true. And they created their own software program. And they did everything they could to set up a pattern to prove that this was a lie. And all they ended up doing was proving it was true. And then the Pentagon also got in the picture, and the code department of the Pentagon, because this is just really a code, got up and set up, and they put everything that the United States intelligence had on this to see if this was true or not, and they also came up with the conclusion that this is true. They don't know what it means, but it's a fact that it's there. And you can run this computer code in any other book known in existence, even the rest of the Bible, and it won't work. It only works in the first 5 books, which is called the Torah. And now, there's something that I would like to say about this. First of all, it's all based on what's called statistics. And I'll give an example. If you were walking through the forest and you saw a rock sitting beside the little path that you're walking, you wouldn't think anything. It was just a rock, and you keep going. But if you saw another rock balanced on top of that rock, you might stop for a second, but it wouldn't slow you down too long. You just keep right on going. But if you saw a rock with another rock on it, with another rock on top of that, with another one on top of that, another one, another one, another one, oh, we have little tiny rocks way over there. You'd stop, and in your mind you would say, some human being did that. You wouldn't even consider that it happened by accident or by nature did it. The odds would be of that just occurring like that would just be too outrageous. And that's the key, the odds. And so that's how the mathematicians are trying to prove all these things. Well, they discovered that, first of all, in statistical mathematics, if something occurs at an odds of 1 to 1,000, it's not considered just a chance, per chance. It's considered almost for sure human done or consciously done, not just at random. But the odds that they're finding in the Bible code are 1 to 1,000,000 to 1 to 10 million. The odds are so high that it's just right off the scale of possibilities of saying this is true or not true. But still, you've got many, many people out there going, oh, it can't be. They can't accept the possibility that maybe the future was already known. There's another thing I would like to talk about this. I have very little time to talk about it, so I'm going to have to go kind of quickly. And many of you will not know what I'm talking about. But for any of you who have read the Flower of Life book, or for you people who have been through the Flower of Life, you'll remember that in the story of the history of Atlantis, we talk about how 2 new ET races merged with our evolutionary pattern during that time. And one of them was the Martians, which we spent a long time talking about, and how they came here against our will, and they're still here, and they're still manipulating through the secret government and the world powers, but that they came from the past. This is the key, that they came from almost 1 million years in the past, coming up to about 60 or 70,000 years ago in our past, and merged with us then. And in terms of what they were doing, that's not too important right now, because what I'm really interested in is the second race, which we only, in the Flower of Life, gave a little passing. We only talked about for a moment. We referred it to like a child who had missed grade 5 and had to do the grade over again. They had misunderstood something, and they had to come here to repeat a grade. And that there was a great asset to us, because they brought knowledge, a higher knowledge that we didn't have before. The knowledge of the hierarchy and the angels and many things that we didn't even know existed at that time, because it was the next grade that we were about to do. And so we kind of didn't say much about it. And when this came up here, I sat in meditation, and the angels came in and said, and gave me an idea of what, or an explanation of what was going on. I will give it to you. You can accept it or throw it away or say it's crazy, but we'll see. They say that the Hebrews are coming from a very distant time in the future, and that they had created a life that was horrible. It was absolutely horrible because they misunderstood something. And the end result was that they were living a life that nobody wants to even talk about. It was horrible. And so at that moment, in a long time in the future, they sat down and they wrote the Torah very carefully from a very high level of consciousness. And they wrote it down, and in the Torah, they were instructed to never change a letter, not one, which is still the way it is with the Hebrews. They're not allowed to change even one letter because it breaks the computer code and it won't work. And then in there, they did something. They did something very unique. And now I'm going to talk about something else for just a second and come back to this. Last year, as everybody has been following this, the Pentagon and everyone else and the world governments and everything, they've all been following this because it's predicting the future exactly to the moment. Something didn't happen. One thing did not occur last year. And that was the Bible, the Torah said that Jerusalem was going to be blown up by an atomic bomb. And it said who was going to do it, by name, how they were going to do it, exactly where, and what day, and the moment when it was going to happen. And it didn't happen. And the whole world went back to the computer code again, ran it back up there, and expanded out the matrix to see, because this is the first time they ever saw anything not occurring exactly as was in there. And when they did, up in the top right-hand corner was the word delayed. And underneath that was a statement that they'd never seen before. It said, "Will you change this? Will you change this?" What the angel said was, when they wrote the Torah in the future a long time ago, they programmed into very specific places where the changes had to happen so that they did not end up where they were in this horrible place. And that was the first one that came up last year. And I was in communication with the Hebrew University through email for a while. They were telling me they were supporting this work and everything, and I told them what I'm about to tell you, and I haven't heard from them since. And but I told them they could prove if this was true or not. It's very easy. First of all, there's already proof out there that this existed for a very, very long time. The common belief is that Moses got the Torah from God on Mount Sinai in the year approximately 1250 BC. That's what we've all been told. But that is true, and I'm sure that God gave Moses the copy. But it isn't the first time it was on earth. Because if you read the 12th planet by Zechariah Sitchin, you'll see that when they unfolded, when they found the ancient Sumerian cities and they brought out the clay tablets of the ancient records of the Sumerians, there was the first book of Genesis written word for word as it is already. So, how did they get that? I mean, if it was given in 1250 BC, how did they get it in 3000 BC? Or actually 4000 BC? And it's because they had brought it back to Atlantis, and the Sumerians were simply writing down their history. And so you can prove that it existed before that time. Absolutely. It's a matter of science now. It's not a matter of debate. It's real. And but you can also prove the idea that it's coming from the future, because if this is predicting the future, all you got to do is start running the computer ahead in time, and it's going to keep going and keep going and keep going, but you're going to come to a place where it doesn't work anymore, because that's the moment when the Torah was created. It will only have the past. And you see, they wrote the past into the Torah, their past, which was known. But they didn't just write the little bits of like a person's life or things like that. I believe that you will eventually find that what's in there is the Akashic records, right down to every quiver of every leaf, to the very words I'm speaking, to absolutely every single thing. And what they're opening up right now is just the index. That's all it is. You get